Hello, my dear friends. My name is Faisal. Welcome back to English Speaking Way, where every story makes your English stronger, written by me. Voiced with the help of AI. Now, let's get started with today's story. The title of today's story is The Secret Letter. Jake works at the city library. He loves his job. He helps people find books every day. After work, he always walks past the small reading room before he goes home. Every evening, Jake sees the same girl. She sits alone at a table near the window. She looks sad. She is there every single day. It's her again, Jake thinks. I want to say hello today. Jake walks over and sits down across from her. Hi, he says. I work here. I see you every evening. I'm Jake. The girl looks up. Oh, hi, she says. I'm Nora. Are you okay? Jake asks. You don't look very happy. It's nothing, Nora says quietly. You can tell me, Jake says. Maybe I can help. Nora is quiet for a moment. Then she starts to talk. My mother died last year, she says. Before she died, she wrote me a letter. She wanted me to read it after she was gone. But my aunt has the letter now. She won't give it to me, double quotes. Why not? Jake asks. My aunt is staying at the Riverside Inn for a few days, Nora says. She says I'm too young to read it. She wants to open it herself first. But it's my letter. My mother wrote it for me, not for her. That's really hard, Jake says softly. I know, Nora says. My aunt goes back home in 2 days. If she takes the letter with her, I might never see it again. Jake thinks for a moment. What room is she staying in? He asks. Room 214, Nora says. But she keeps the door locked all the time. I know the manager there, Jake says. He's an old friend from school. Maybe I can find a way to get the letter for you. Nora's eyes fill with hope. Would you really do that? Sure, Jake says. Everyone should be able to read their own mother's words. Thank you, Jake, Nora says, wiping her eyes. Meet me here tomorrow at 4:30. I'll be waiting. Okay, Jake says. See you then. Nora checks her phone and hurries out of the library. That night, in her small apartment, Nora picks up her phone and makes a call. It's me, she says quietly. Yes, it's working perfectly. There's a guy at the library who's going to get it for me tomorrow. No, he thinks it's just a letter from my mom. He doesn't know anything else. Yes, I'll meet you the next morning at 10. Don't forget the money. The next day, Jake goes to the Riverside Inn during his lunch break. He finds his old friend Dennis, who works at the front desk. I need a favor, Jake says. Can you let me into room 214 for a minute? A friend's letter is in there, and the guest won't give it back. Dennis looks worried but agrees. Just be quick, he says. I can't get in trouble for this. Jake waits in the hallway until a woman walks out of room 214 and heads toward the elevator. That must be Nora's aunt, Jake thinks. Once she is gone, Dennis unlocks the door. 5 minutes, he says, and walks away. Jake slips inside. The room is neat, with a suitcase open on the bed. He looks around carefully. Where would she keep a letter? He thinks. He checks the desk drawer and finds a cream-colored envelope with Nora written on the front in fancy handwriting. Next to it, there is a small leather folder. Got it, Jake thinks. He picks up the envelope, then notices the folder is open. Inside, there are old, yellow papers with strange, old-fashioned handwriting. One page has a name printed at the top. Property of the National Archive, do not remove. That's strange, Jake thinks. Why would a mother's letter be sitting next to old government papers? He doesn't have time to think about it. He hears the elevator doors open down the hall. Jake grabs the envelope, leaves the folder behind, and slips out of the room just before someone turns the corner. He rushes to the library to meet Nora at 4:30. She comes in, looking anxious. "You got it," she says, taking the envelope quickly. "Thank you so much, Jake. You don't know what this means to me." "No problem," Jake says. "But Nora, I saw some old papers next to it. They said something about a national archive. Do you know what that means?" Nora's smile fades for a second. "Oh, those are probably just my aunt's work papers," she says. "She works for the government. Anyway, I have to go now. Thank you again." She hurries away before Jake can ask more questions. The next morning, Jake is getting ready for his shift when his phone rings. "It's Dennis." "Jake, we have a huge problem," Dennis says. "The woman in 214 called the police this morning. She says someone stole important historical documents from her room. She showed the manager a photo from the hallway camera. It's you, Jake." Walking out of her room, Jake's stomach drops. "It was just a letter," he says. "Nora told me." "Jake, listen," Dennis says. "That woman works for the National Archive. She was carrying rare historical letters for a museum exhibit. Some of them are worth a lot of money. And now she's saying you stole them." Jake feels sick. "Nora lied to me," he whispers. "You need to find that girl," Dennis says. "Fast, before the police find you first." Jake runs home, but there's a police car parked outside his building. 2 officers are talking to his neighbor. "They're looking for me," Jake thinks. "I can't go home." He turns around and walks away quickly, his heart pounding. That night, Jake has nowhere to go. He sits on a bench in the city park and falls asleep, cold and scared. Early the next morning, a park worker wakes him up. "Hey, you can't sleep here," the man says. "Sorry," Jake mutters, standing up fast, as people start walking through the park. One man stops and looks at his phone, then up at Jake. It's him, the man thinks. The guy from the news. Jake sees his own picture on the man's phone screen. The headline reads, "Library worker wanted in archive theft. I have to get out of here," Jake thinks. The man waves down a police officer nearby. That's him. The guy from the news story. "Stop right there." The officer shouts. Jake doesn't stop. Runs through the pressing and Ned's gulp. He needs a friend who can think clearly. Jake runs to his best friend Maria's apartment. She opens the door, shocked. "Jake? What happened to you?" "I need your help," Jake says, out of breath. "I'm in serious trouble." He tells her everything. Nora, the letter, the old papers, the police. Maria listens carefully, then shakes her head. "Jake, I think that girl tricked you," she says. A real mother's letter wouldn't be sitting next to museum documents. She wanted something else, and she used you to get it. But how do I find her? Jake asks. "I don't even know where she lives." Maria thinks hard. "Didn't you say she made a phone call the night before?" She asks. "You told me you overheard her mention a time. 10 o'clock, right?" "Yes," Jake says. "And now that I think about it, when we were at the library." Her phone showed a text about the morning ferry to Cedar Island. "It's almost 10 now," Maria says, checking the clock. "Go, Jake, now." Jake runs all the way to the ferry dock. His legs burn, but he does not stop. When he arrives, people are boarding the boat already. He buys a ticket and rushes on board, scanning every face. Finally, he spots Nora near the railing, talking to a man in a long coat. She is holding the leather folder tightly. "Nora!" Jake shouts, pushing through the crowd. She turns, sees him, and her face fills with fear. "Rab Shigram and quick click letad moment." Two police officers step onto the ferry. They had been following tips about the stolen documents all morning. Stop right there. One officer calls out, moving toward Nora and the man. Jake raises his hands. It's not me, he says. I didn't know what I was taking. She has the real documents right there in that folder. The officers look at the folder in Nora's arms. It matches the description from the theft report exactly. Open it, the officer says. Inside are the rare historical letters, along with the museum's papers. You two need to come with us, the officer tells Nora and the man. I don't understand, Nora says. But nobody is listening to her now, later that day. Jake sits in the police station, explaining everything to Officer Kim and to Dr. Ren, the archive director. I'm really sorry, Jake says. I thought I was just helping a girl read her mother's letter. Dr. Ren listens quietly, then sighs. You made a mistake trusting a stranger's story too fast, she says. But you also helped us catch the people who have been stealing rare letters for months. So, thank you, Jake. I really am sorry, Jake says again. It's all right, Dr. Ren says, almost smiling. Just remember, next time, ask a few more questions before you help someone you just met. Jake nods, feeling both relieved and tired. As he stands to leave, Dr. Ren stops him. Wait, she says. There's something else. She hands him a small cream-colored envelope. We found this mixed in with the stolen papers. It has your name written on the back, from the girl who works at your library. A real letter, it seems. Maybe she wanted you to have proof, just in case. Jake opens it slowly. Inside is a short note in shaky handwriting. I'm sorry, Jake. You were the only kind person in this whole plan. Thank you for trusting me, even though I didn't deserve it. Jake folds the note and puts it in his pocket. He walks out of the police station into the evening light. Feeling strange, sad for Nora, but proud of himself for doing the right thing in the end. From that day on, Jake still says hello to sad strangers in the library. But now, he always remembers one important lesson. Kindness is good, but truth matters too.